Hello YouTube, Mewtwo back with another package and pickups video, and you might be able to see in the camera, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm kind of surrounded with stuff today, doing a bit of a kind of a organise of the collection, I suppose. But so this isn't all what I've picked up. In fact, there's only a few little bits. Um, 4 items, so not that much. And largely local pickups, unusually. The first one was just a cheap little title from CEX, and it was International Track and Field on the PlayStation 2, black box. So I'm guessing it's an early title, 2000 Konami. Yep, all complete. Of course, they have the stupid, black marker type thing. Pre-owned. I'm guessing CEX did that. I don't know. Yeah, now of course this is a sports game, so normally, it was a euro, so it wasn't too much anyway. But that's about the limit I'd pay for a sports game. But as it was international track and field, I figured it has that extra kind of kind of retro connection. Although this is the ESPN International Track and Field, and I seen another one of Konami's early PlayStation 2 games had the ESPN logo on it, so I'm guessing there must have been some sort of licensing or some sort of an arrangement between ESPN and Konami at the time. So that was a quid in CX. Also in CX, and one that was kind of expensive for me for a local pickup, but it's an Xbox game, and it's Conker's Bad Fur Day. And of course, this was one of Rare's last games for Nintendo on the N64. Actually, it could be their last N64 game, I can't remember. And then they ported it over to the Xbox, and it's live and reloaded version. So Xbox Live multiplayer, and then the reloaded updated version of the original N64 game. And I see on the back they have a blurb. It is the best looking Xbox game to date, and to be fair, it does look pretty good. I'm playing it on the 360. I do have an Xbox, but it's not hooked up, so thankfully it is compatible. Although I do notice that the menus, the opening kind of menus are incredibly slow. You kind of judder, but when you get to the game itself, it plays fine. So I'm guessing that's presumably an emulation issue. The disc seems clean enough. Oh, and I was just going to show you the game, but I have actually, it's in the Xbox. So it said it's the Lego Rock Band disc and manual, but it was complete. And this was a tenner. So as I said, that's kind of expensive for a pickup for an older generation in CX. I did, when I was actually in CX now, I had my eye out on this because it has that rare connection, N64 connection, which if you try and get the N64 game, it's very dear. I think box versions of that go for 60 quid or something like that, so it's an expensive game. I figured might as well pick it up on the Xbox if I can. And when I was in the shop, I was looking it up on my phone, kind of saying, well, what's it kind of going for on eBay? And to be honest, when you factor in postage and currency conversion, I wasn't going to get it for less than a tenner unless I was very lucky in an auction. So I said, I'll just pump down the cash and pick it up for a tenner, especially as it was complete. Though with CX, you're always taking a chance, and just kind of get a close up of the screenshots if possible. When I tried it out, I have to say it does actually look really good for an Xbox game. The only thing is that Conker's Fur, they had this kind of stranded pics, or I'm not too sure is it pixels or polygons on this kind of all the furs of characters, particularly of Conker himself being a squirrel, and it's a little too harsh, I find, on my telly. I don't know, is that because it's in HD and it doesn't suit it, or was it designed for a CRT and it was going to have a kind of a smoothing effect, kind of blurring off a standard definition telly. But either way, it's a good looking game. There are times where you nearly think it was a 360 game. It's that good looking. So yeah, to be honest though, the graphics and whatnot are probably the best part. As a game, it's decent, has its moments. It's obviously incredibly crude. I'm sure they have a 16 plus rating. I'm surprised it's not 18. I think the N64 was 18. It's intentionally vulgar and whatnot, and they were kind of going against the typical banjo, Nintendo-y image. So you kind of got to take that with a pinch of salt. But it's worth it if you can pick it up, and if you don't want to shell out for the N64 game, as I wasn't willing to at the time. So that was my other CX pickup. There was actually a few other games of interest in there, but they knew their value. I had actually, last time I'd been in CX, they had really whittled down the PlayStation 2 stuff, but they seem to have gotten more stock in it. So I kind of thought they were kind of going to get rid of it altogether. So it looks like maybe they've got a bit more of a run on it. Because if it wasn't for that, with game clothes, I'd only have pretty much game stock to go. Or the odd charity shop find. So they had, was it Ico or Shadow of the Colossus? I think it was actually Ico, but it wasn't the original release. It was in a plastic, or the kind of standard PlayStation 2 box. I think they were looking for 25 for that, which, to be honest, I'd say that you could probably get that on eBay for that price any day. I know it's a desired title though, so clearly they know it too and have priced it accordingly. And there was another game that I actually had in my hand and I was going to pick up. It was Space Channel 5 on the PlayStation 2. I'd misread the label, or the price sticker. I thought it said £3 or €3. But I was like, oh yeah, I'll pick that up, definitely. When I gave it to my girlfriend then, while I was looking up Conquer on my phone, and she goes, surprised to see me picking up a PlayStation 2 game for 30 quid. She was like, wow, £30 or €30? I was like, what? €30? I thought it was €3 and promptly put it back. So I'm guessing that one also probably holds its value quite a bit too. But I wasn't willing to pay €30 for it, given I don't think there's that much to it. Anyway, that was my CEX kind of trip. I also picked up, this is actually a little bit before that, so I can't remember if I've showed this or not, but yeah, however, a game for the Mega Drive in a local retro store, and it's Pink Goes to Hollywood. And it's by Accolade, so it's got a slightly different box, I think. Oh no, standard box maybe. It doesn't, it's just the cart and the box, no manual. But I'm not as picky with my Mega Drive games. And the cart's in okay condition, kind of the label's seen better days, but it's passable. But for a $5, I figured this is kind of one of those titles that's getting complete anyway is a little trick in a Mega Drive, so being able to pick it up for a $5 locally is, that'll do me. Pink Panther MGM's Too Cool Cat hits Hollywood to audition for his next big movie role. And that obviously involves a 2D platformer, as you can probably tell from the screenshots. So it's not often you'd even see a Mega Drive game for a $5, even loose carts around here, so yeah, that was a good deal, I thought. So, on to the last pickup, and this is the only one that came as a package, I suppose, and it was from eBay. And it is Segaya, or however you pronounce that. I'm going to say Segaya. It's basically Darius. In fact, if you look at the English text, I don't know if the camera will focus on that, the first word is Darius. So I don't know why they renamed it, presumably licensing issue. And naturally, being a Darius game, it's a side-scrolling shooter. 1992, so somewhat later too. And I'm guessing, although this has got Taisho on the front, Taisho Corporation, I'm guessing this is probably a Sega reprogram. And give it a bit of a blast. Doesn't seem too bad. I mean, some pretty impressive graphical effects for the system. Little flickering going on, I thought, but however, I'm not exactly a connoisseur of shoot 'em ups, so I could be wrong. And it was complete. And I have a little story behind this one. Now, I picked this up complete in an auction for about £4, with a couple of pounds postage, I think. I can't remember the exact amount, but it wasn't that expensive. It was fairly cheap. But just before Christmas, this is actually the second copy I have, second complete copy. But the first time it's gone into my collection. And that's because before Christmas, when I was doing the Sega 8-bit Secret Santa, the person that I was doing Secret Santa for had this game on their list, and they had it marked as kind of a really high, I want this game. So naturally, I went to try and find it, but as time is relatively narrow and postage to Ireland and then to America would take a while, I didn't have the opportunity to really kind of wait for an auction and pick it up at a lower price like this, whereas I would pick it up for £4. So it was kind of a case of resorting to the best bin prices, and as such, it cost a good bit more. So, it kind of might sound like you can pick this up for very cheap, and you can if you wish. The bin prices tend to go for a little bit more, although I actually got a decent deal because I bundled with some other games at the time. So, yeah, if you're looking for a shooter, you can have it for a few quid on a mass system. Doesn't have to necessarily be bin men prices. But yeah, it was one of those things as well when the game arrived and I didn't have it in my collection. It's like, no, I don't want to hand it off to someone else. This has got to count down the number, which I think the number is down to 29 now. Thereabouts. Could actually be 28. Yes, because with all these stacks here, I'm kind of going through games and cataloguing and cleaning them and whatnot, and I noticed that I think I might have confused in the great series of sports games. I have two of them left on my target list. One of them I think I'm definitely missing, and that's Great Volleyball. But I think I had either Great Baseball or Great Basketball on the list to get, and I think I have both of those. So that's why you should go through and catalogue the games you have as you're doing it, so you don't end up in a case where you're going, am I missing something? Or you could do the reverse like I did before with Zillion and think, oh yeah, I already have Zillion, and then realize, nope, no I don't. So anyway, that's my last pickup. Couple of kind of Sega goodnesses, because you gotta get it. And then some somewhat more modern stuff. I've been actually playing this one, which is unusual to kind of play a pickup so soon afterwards, but looking for something, and that kind of, well, I was actually kind of curious would it even play on the 360, and it did, so I decided to give it a whirl. But anyway, that's everything, so thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.